How you doing, guys? It's funny, I think we all can relate to something. We never know how good we have it until we kiss it goodbye. After coming with some issues I had going on in the early to mid 90s, I led a relatively simple, happy life from the late 90s to the mid 2000s. Actually, had a smile on my face. A lot. Then I kissed all that goodbye and became a JW. Didn't realize what I was doing at the time. Last video I talked about the JW dating scene. That seemed to be a very big issue with these people. And I thought I made it clear, no, not for me. I was always big on keeping my private life my private life. Whoever I saw was who I saw. They didn't need to be involved. Thought I made a point and they were listening. No, 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 no. Funny. After I was baptized, things changed drastically. Mind you, at the time, I was very, very heavily into bodybuilding, had been for many years. So I didn't look like your typical JW. I kind of picked up on that pretty quickly. Now, we did have some single sisters in the hall that really wanted to get married. Apparently, they couldn't comprehend that I didn't want to. I was really enjoying my single life. I rather enjoyed it very much. I mean, I liked it that way. So I was baptized. I avoided the single women just to avoid any problems, although the subject was still brought up. A new woman started coming to my hall about the time I got baptized. Mind you, this woman was my mother's age. Okay, didn't think that would be a problem. My Bible stalker and his wife, I used to go out with them in service quite a bit at that point in time. Hadn't quite cut ties with him yet. Well, anyways, we went up to the field service meeting, and it was he, his wife, myself, and this older sister decided to come out with us. Okay, that was fine. I mean, they were friends with her. I didn't know who she was. Okay, it was a normal day out in field service. We got flipped off a few times, doors slammed in our faces. Okay, that's fine. And during the course of the day, she's talking about having a dinner party. But I'm like a red-blooded American guy, in one ear and out the other. I didn't pretty much hear too much he was saying. Okay, that's fine. Day's over. I go home. They go home. And I'm sitting at home. Phone rings. And I'm like, hello? Well, it was my Bible stalker. I'm like, okay, what's up? And he mentions, so-and-so is having a dinner party. She'd like you to come. Okay. And I'm thinking, stupid me, didn't register at that point. And this is the woman that we were out in service with, the one who came over on the Mayflower. Okay, well, fine. Okay, yeah, sure, let's go. I figure, she's having a bunch of people from the hall over. Great. Well, next time he and I are out in service, he said a really strange comment, and he's like, well, I don't really think you'll have too much of a problem getting rid of your dog. And I'm like, looking at him, why would I get rid of my dog? And he says, well, so-and-so's afraid of big dogs. And, well, I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. But what does it have to do with me? Why would I get rid of my dog? I mean, mind you, this dog was the best companion I think I've ever had my entire life. Well, he didn't mention it again. He kind of left it quiet. And I kind of registered. I'm like, I called him back a day later. I'm like, hey, this dinner party that so-and-so is having. And he's like, yeah, what? And I'm like, well, who's going? Well, he says, well, me, my wife, you, and so-and-so. And I'm like, okay, bell rung. I see what's going on. Well, I says, you know something? I think I'm going to have to cancel. And he says, well, somebody's going to be disappointed. And I'm saying, well, somebody's going to have to get over it. Kind of registered that, yeah, from what I got wind of, this woman really wanted to get married. Okay, not to me. Especially when she's my mother's age. Well, I figured it registered that, okay, he wasn't going to push any issues. And he and I are out in service again. And he makes a really crazy comment. He says, "You know, there's something alluring about an older woman." I looked at him. I'm like, "Yeah, when you're 20 and she's 30. I knew what he was getting at. And I says, "Okay, mind you, I'm in my 50s. Okay, an older woman at this point in time is not alluring." And he says, "Oh," and he leaves it be at that. And I'm like, we're talking again about it. And I'm like, "Listen, here's the deal. Okay. First of all, she's not my type at all. Second of all, she's my mother's age. I have no interest in pushing somebody around in a wheelchair." And he says to me, he says, like, "You can't look at it that way." And I'm like, "How am I supposed to look at it?" He said, "Well, you got to look at it spiritually." I'm like, "Okay." Nope, not interested. Not happening. Well, he kind of dropped it for a while. And I was like, "What can't I get through to your head that I enjoy my single life? Believe me, if I was interested in somebody, they would know it before you did. If I was interested in being married, don't you think I'd have been married long before getting here?" He says to me, "Marriage in the organization is a lot different than it is on the outside." And I'm like, "No, it isn't." Well, but he was pretty convinced that it was. And I'm like, "No, no, it isn't." But it didn't matter to me what I wanted. It was more the fact that she wanted to get married. He said to me later on, he says, "Look, this is probably her last chance." And I'm like, "So why would I sell my soul because it's her last chance?" I mean, I have nothing against this woman. Personally, I'm sure she's a decent person, but not for me. He couldn't understand that at all. We dropped it. He didn't mention it again. I stood my ground on some things. Well, about a year later, well, she moved out of the congregation, went to another congregation. That's fine. And about a year later, she came back for a visit. He and I were talking about it, and he says, "Man, that girl's got some head problems." I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yo, she's on so many antidepressants. She's manic depressive. She's bipolar, all this stuff." Apparently, he forgot what happened the year before. And after he's mentioning all this, I'm like, "And this is the person that you wanted me to marry?" Well, then he flat out denied, "I never did that." "Yes, you did." Anyways, I always kept my private life to me. I mean, I never dated a JW, never had any interest in marrying one. I figured getting married into this organization is just too permanent. Anyways, guys, leave your comments below if you've had any similar circumstances. I'd kind of like to know, or was I the only one this has happened to? Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for listening. And I want to thank my subscribers. I will see you again. You guys have a good night.